What's up everyone? Today we're back in the BMW, and as the title of this video describes, basically what I'm doing today is a sort of an update. So to those of you who don't know, who haven't seen, the very first episode or video that I did was the review on this BMW 135, and at the time of doing that video the car was completely stock, so everything that was said, everything that was shown on video was from the perspective of the car being as it was from the factory, essentially. So that said, between then and now, practically a month and a half later, quite a bit has changed. In fact, to be honest with you, by the time I uploaded that video already quite a bit had changed. So checking from the cinematics, you'll notice that aesthetically the car is still exactly as it was as compared to the first video. So let me explain myself. Personally, I do believe that progress is everything, but I always put performance before aesthetics when it comes to modifications. So far, all modifications that have been done to the car, all changes that have been done to the car, has purely be performance based, and I think from this point forward I'll start looking at some aesthetic changes. So what has been done so far, basically downpipe, catalyst downpipes, followed by a full straight pipe exhaust, 76mm. So basically from the downpipe all the way through, it's just one straight pipe. There's absolutely no boxes, zero boxes. On the same day that the exhaust and downpipe was done, the software was done as well. Basically a stage 2 tune. It's making decent power, acclaimed 270 kilowatts. As for the exhaust was done by Jalen Performance. I think to anybody who knows the racing scene or the car culture scene in Cape Town in general would know Jalen Performance. So Lincoln, the guy who runs Jalen, big ups to him. The work that was done on the exhaust I'm very happy with. To explain what it sounds like, there's basically like 3 stages to the exhaust. Below 2000 RPM you don't really hear anything, especially from inside of the cabin. So big ups to BMW there, where the noise cancellation is really good. You don't really hear much from inside the cabin. But then at exactly 2000 RPM, there's this trumpety sound that I really just irks me. I don't like it at all. It's got a bit of a audible sound at 2000 RPM specifically. And then after 2000 RPM all the way through to red line, it's more like full-on race car. I absolutely love the sound. I'm stuck at a bit of a robot at the moment, so I'm going to take advantage of that and just drop the window to see if I can get a bit of that sound in. Smiles. Yeah, so that's it. In the very first review that I did, I said that the car was extremely light on fuel, which it was. That at this point in time has gone out of the window. So here's a nice bit of road for us. So this is the sound with those windows up, and the car pulls really strong, very, very strong. So that's why I say, with regards to power, I am happy. So where was I? Fuel consumption, it's not that great anymore. In fact, when I'm on the freeway and I'm just cruising, it's not all that bad. But when I'm just doing like inside city driving, the fuel consumption does get very bad. So another thing that I need to get back to is the first time that I spoke about the car and the way it performs on the road and the way it handles. So I said that the car gives you a lot of confidence because of how well it handles into the bends and how you could still attack the bends basically. I have to say now that that's changed a bit. It's not to say that the car doesn't handle well. The car still handles amazingly. It's just that with the extra power and a car that weighs this little basically, I mean, it's 1,500 kilograms, which is not a lot. And yeah, it gets a bit tail happy, let me put it that way. And so now when you really planting it, you should watch out when especially when you get into corners and so on. and I definitely want to get myself a set of coilovers because yeah, not to go any lower. In terms of the height of this car, I'm really happy with the height, but I want a set of coilovers just to increase the stability for safety's purpose. So yeah, the exhaust, it's really loud from the outside, and when the windows are down, it gets really loud. I'm not going to put down the windows for when I'm doing pulls because I know it messes with the wind and so on, and then it really messes with your ears or whatever. But you can, I'm sure that you can hear from the inside of the cabin with the windows up that the exhaust sounds pretty nice. There is a bit of drone, like I said, especially around that 2000 RPM range, and it's, let me just show you what I mean if I just get it up a bit. So this here is at 2000 RPM, and I really don't like it, but after 2000, so let's say 2300 onwards, it's got a nice race car type of sound to it, and below 2000 RPM you barely hear it, so that's pretty awesome. Now, besides the fact that I did the actual software on to do modifications on the engine, or to adjust the air and fuel ratios, etc. on the engine, we also did gearbox software later on. So the gearbox software was done by HK Performance out in Goodwood, so big ups to HK Performance. Basically what the gearbox software did was, after doing the software on the engine, so the stage 2 plus, after doing that change, the shifts were quite violent. So basically every time I would hit a shift, what would happen is that the car would give a bit of spin, or I'd break traction basically. And so now with the gearbox software, the shifts are a bit smoother, so it doesn't spin out. That smoothness, it's less dramatic basically, and also because you're not constantly breaking traction in shifts, you're actually driving a lot faster, or you're not losing speed, if I should put it that way. So that made a huge difference. Also, I think it did, like I said, after the tune, fuel consumption wasn't that great, but I noticed that with the gearbox software there was a bit of an improvement in terms of fuel consumption. But another thing that I changed is, previously, and this is something that really irritated me, I thought it was kind of stupid, on the dash, basically on these cars, right, when you look on the dash before the gearbox software, when you were just in drive, it would simply say D, right? But it wouldn't say what gear you were in. It would just be D, straightforward D. And when you switch to sport, it would say DS, but once again you wouldn't know what gear you were in. And then when you switch over to manual, then it will say manual 1 or manual 2, whatever gear you're in, right? But after doing the gearbox software, what had happened was, now it shows me D6 or D3 or whatever. So yeah, and I'm just in drive, I can see what gear I'm in, which really helps when I want to downshift and I want to put my foot down or whatever, or just for me to get to know where I am before I switch over to manual, if you know, if that makes any sense. And then when I go over to sport, instead of saying DS, it just says S for sport and the number of the gear that I'm in. So that, I know it sounds like really petty, but it does make a difference, because especially when you're just cruising along and then you change of mood and you maybe want to go a bit quicker, you know how many times you'd want to click down on your shift basically. So there's that. So the characteristics of the car and how it's changed, I would say it's a little less predictable, so you need to be a bit more cautious, because obviously there's more power, but I really feel like it's really woken up the car, so that's a big deal. Alright guys, I think that's all for today. So hopefully the next time we have a look at the BMW, there'll be some aesthetic changes. Possibly I'll even do some videos on fitting said parts, like maybe a front lip, front splitter, the boot spoiler and those kinds of things. But for now, that's all. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell if you've already subscribed, so that you can get those notifications. Thanks for all the support. See you guys next time.